G'day chaps, I thought I'd just cover off the recent news from the Long Dark and Hinterland, and I've just been, so I have to laugh. I just think it's kind of funny that all this kind of stuff has kicked off. It's kind of a shame on the one hand, and it says a lot about the gaming industry in general. There was a mistake on the part of Hinterland and Raph in particular. But on the other hand, the reaction was too much in my opinion. Anyway, I'll cover it off. Let me just go through what I've taken away from it first. I'm sure you've all seen the video, the intro to story mode, and obviously we know that it's coming on the 1st of August. Unfortunately guys, I'm going to be actually traveling the US at the time. I'm going to be basically sleeping in a tent or Airbnb and somewhere in California, most likely, or traveling across to Colorado. So I'm on the 24th of July. I'm heading to the US. My best friend's in the US, and I've also got some kind of business interests I'm working on. And I'm going to spend an entire month traveling around. I'm going into LA. I'm going to go up to San Francisco, then over to Colorado, driving basically through the west of the country. Now I'm going to drive back over to LA through the south. I've never really seen the US, and we're planning kids actually later in the year, so this is pretty much my last chance to do it. Yeah, when this drops on the 1st of August, I don't know how I'm going to record. I'm not going to have my laptop with me, but I'm not really going to have much of an internet connection, so I'm going to just bear with me. We'll figure out something. I may just vlog my trip if you're interested in that. Let me know. Anyway, so obviously we had the countdown for the Long Dark, and then it was a timer to a timer, and it was not very popular at all. And as you can see on the Long Dark, Reddit just exploded. You know, it's kind of calmed down now, but here we go, just threads like, for fuck's sake, this is the final straw for me, and what the actual fuck, Hinterland, and dear Hinterland, and you know, it was like a personal affront to a lot of people. It really pissed people off. The real balanced opinion, the only balanced opinion I could really find, was this one. And because it is so balanced, I actually wanted to read it in its entirety, because I thought it was really, really good. Opinion from an outsider, from Bambus. Hello guys, I just wanted to tell you how this whole situation looks from an outsider's perspective. I own The Long Dark, but I never played it. I bought it because I watched a few streams. I really liked the atmosphere of the game. Now I am basically waiting for the story mode, so that's why I visited this subreddit for the first time yesterday. To be honest, this sub is very entertaining to watch as someone not invested in the game. Especially on Reddit, millions of times, the repeated cycle of "we hate you devs" and "you'll here are stupid" is hilarious. Yesterday when I saw the front page being full of negative comments, I immediately thought that the next day it would be full of posts about overreacting and being stupid, and that's exactly what has happened. Because it happened so many times already with many different games on many different occasions. Anyway, to my point, I don't want to sound condescending or to tell you how you should feel, so please forgive me if I do. I've been in the same situation, blah blah blah. But a few things to consider. Looking at the trailer itself, it was great. I loved it, especially the music. I agree. I think the trailer was fantastic, and it was just enough of a tease to really garner interest. And we finally have a date for the story mode. Fantastic, can't wait. And then the developer acknowledged that the countdown was a misstep. And it was clearly a mistake. It was Raph's decision. Raph is the creative director and basically the boss at Hinterland. And he fucked up. Come on, I mean, this guy is not a marketing guru. I work in marketing. Anyone who works in marketing would say to this guy, this is the dumbest thing you could have possibly done. It was stupid. But, you know, is it the end of the world? Not really. I think that we should take time and compare it to other similar situations. Most of the time after a blunder, devs either remain silent or deny it. Yep, just like Hello Games and No Man's Sky. I really appreciate that Raph manned up, and so far it seems like he is trying to make amends. Yesterday when I looked here for the first time, I saw that the main dev can be a little over his head sometimes. This happens to many leaders who get successful, which is definitely not good, especially when this attitude is displayed towards the community. However, this time I think his reaction is great, and his reaction is usually pretty good. People make mistakes, and I can easily forgive them if they are acknowledged. Me too. To conclude, I think you have every right to be upset, but maybe you should take a step back and do not let emotions get the best of you. Very, very true. Because on Steam, Raph here himself says at the top here, as part of the blog post, this brings me to the recent countdown we launched at thelongdark.com. I know that in some corners of our community, this countdown timer was not a popular thing. Some people felt that it was insulting to be given a timer to a timer. I can see this, and I'm sorry that it created frustration for some of you. That was clearly not our intention. And that's cool. Just for another opinion, I think it's fair to just include this. This is something I posted. Okay, maybe it's because I'm a little older, but I, for one, am not too mad about this. And I basically kind of trying to put it in context, but the response, I think, was pretty good. Here. Just a video game, great value for money. I don't know about the moose and so on, but I think the outrage is actually something very useful and necessary. Not because of Hinterland and their evil ways, but the game industry in general. Yes. And this makes me think of DayZ, which has basically been completely abandoned. And it's insulting. It's deeply insulting. And the way Hello Games handled, and PlayStation, let's be fair, handled No Man's Sky. Deeply insulting. They're taking the piss for blatant money grabs. And this guy goes on, people are getting used to pre-orders, paid DLCs, season passes, etc. and looking at how much money even Hello Games made with No Man's Sky. Something needs to change eventually. I agree. Instead we see good game developers like Hinterland being tempted to jump on the same train and disappointing their fans. Maybe. You seem like a smart man, blah blah blah. But at some point we either kill game companies or we will just think back fondly to the old times. Maybe Hinterland isn't the dev studio to start with, but it worried me greatly to see them pull this stunt. I assume outrage was to be expected but manageable and would be outweighed by the generated publicity. Yep. I assume Hinterland only had the best intentions and the extra generated revenue can go into making the game better, right? And at some point we might want to draw a line and say no to these countdowns and that kind of hype culture. And if we are doing it, then it should probably do it properly. Because, I mean, let's face it, what did this cost Hinterland? Absolutely nothing. They put a counter on their website, they generated tons of free publicity. Did they piss people off? Yes. Did they know it was going to happen? Yes. Did they care? Obviously not. Because it seems to have generated enough press to have been worth it. Or maybe it was an innocent mistake. We will never really know. Okay, finally, I just want to cover off what is coming soon, which is something I'm excited about, which is a sandbox update before story mode launches. So here we go, later this month, we're not sure exactly when, but towards the end of April, we'll open a test branch with an update to the game called Faithful Cartographer. So we're going to get a complete save game overhaul. The downside to that is that our series that we're playing is going to get wiped. So I'm going to play as much as I can and get to the end of that series before the end of the month. A new AI, cool, don't really mind. Cartography, i.e. maps that you can draw with charcoal, doesn't really apply to me. Throwing stones, that'll be pretty cool. Especially early game in Interloper, even mid game in Interloper. And be able to sort of knock rabbits out and then pick them up, stun rabbits, and then see if you have the heart to finish them off. That's pretty cool. I like that. Throwing flares and torches instead of brandishing, whatever, I don't really care. Carcass quartering, finally, we'll be able to actually take chunks of meat and move it somewhere else. That is cool, and I hope we'll be able to, it looks like we're going to be obviously picking up rabbits as well, moving those instead of having to, especially again on Interloper, having to, you know, use coal on a fire just to harvest the rabbits because it's so freaking cold. The rest of it, there's not really much in there. It's more notable for what's being taken out. As it says here, no cougar, no moose, no improved cooking. Some of those features have been prototyped and will most likely end up in the game at some point. Okay, so their focus has been on getting ready for PlayStation and getting story mode ready, and sandbox has become less important. You know, fair enough. Are we gonna die? No. Is sandbox still gonna be really good? Yes. Is story mode gonna be really good? Yes. Okay, so that's pretty much my opinion on it. Do let me know what you think, and stick around as well, because I am going to do that screenshot contest. I'm thinking of maybe doing a video about DayZ and being abandoned, and maybe looking at Star Citizen if I have time, but I'm definitely going to continue with the Long Dark series. So thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.